Well, good morning. And I say good morning because here I am, 3 a.m. in the morning, and somehow this is what I end up doing. So, how did I get into making jewelry? Well, I didn't start out doing that at all. I made the normal daisy chains and clover chains and dandelion chains when I was a kid, and we tuck those things together and wear them around the yard. Um, but I've always been artistic and I've always been creative. When I first got married, and I was in Oklahoma City, and things were really tight. This was in '74. Uh, and I wanted to have a little Christmas tree, but I had nothing with which to buy ornaments. But what I had are my craft supplies, and so what I did is I decorated eggs. So here's a few examples of some, uh, not the beginning eggs, but early on. So, you know, eat eggs. Blew these eggs out. Every single one is a real egg. Every single egg, I punched the holes in them, shook them up, blew them out, and had a lot of scrambled eggs. So, what we've done is I had supplies, I had little stuff, I had sequins, and I had little fake pearls, and I had ribbons and such. And I would take each egg, and these are old, so they're not pretty looking anymore. And I like doing things symmetrically, and so I just started putting sequins on, and then pearls. Had little caps that I put on the top, and I embellished the little caps. So these are an example of some of my very early ones. Like this is just a paper trim, and that's what I used. There's the cap. Here's another just simple sequin one. This one I really liked. This one I used some old sewing trim with some very pretty sewing trim. And then I got fancy and I made the fancy end on it, and the cap. Now here's another one. Unfortunately, it's busted, but if you hang it, you don't know. Uh, Again, I made the little cute thing on the bottom, the top, and so forth. And here are some more examples. So when I got back to Missouri, I still had this artistic interest. Well, so I have to come up with a present for my mother for Christmas. And, I'm always on a budget. And so one day I said, well, you know what? If I could do this when I lived in Oklahoma, I could do this here in Columbia. And so what I started doing is I started doing more progressive eggs. And I would make every year at Christmas, I made a arrangement of different eggs, and at least 2 dozen different eggs, and I gave them to Mother for Christmas, and she loved them. And she would put them on the tree. Every year, another 2 dozen eggs would go on her tree. Well, by the time Mother died, 13 years ago, her tree was nothing but my eggs. And although we have all the eggs, they're up at my son's house. But we don't pull them out and put them on. So I progressed after these, and I went to doing something a little more formal. And this is an example of a complete set that I had made for my cousin. Um, and then ended up getting back. So what I did here is I have matched sets. So this one is the little roses in pink. and in blue. So I was able to make basically identical, get them under, matching. I love these. Oh God, I found this brocade. I can't tell you how many tubs of ribbon and brocade I now have. Let me get it under here. So here's the blue and the pink set. I just love the way these came out. Then I've got another pink and blue because, you know, I was doing the theme of matching, and this is just the pearls and the ribbon. And then this last set, pearls and ribbon again, but this ribbon's got a little extra design to it. Well, unfortunately, when my mother died, I had no one to make these eggs for anymore. I made one last bunch of eggs. Gotta put them down. One last batch of eggs, but they're not ornaments. I'm sorry, they're in the egg carton, but I've got them in a specific order. So what these are, I call these spiritual eggs. You can call them just designer, sit cute on the coffee table egg. But again, these are eggs that I hand blown. I've eaten. And I sat there with my lovely little crystal seed beads. And some of them have crystal points and have pieces of rose quartz. And they're completely covered. Just every square nanometer is covered. And some have gold. And I loved being able to be creative with these eggs. And when I was done with the eggs, then I had supplies and things, and that's when I actually got into making jewelry. But this is how I got started. It's a progression. Now I am going to be selling these eggs. I haven't got them on my Etsy shop yet. My intention with these eggs is the human body is made of energy. And when we're feeling out of whack, it's usually because our energy is out of whack. And there are people who know how to work with energy and do healing. And these eggs are a perfect medium for working with energy. So I call these spiritual eggs. Or you can't help but feel good with them around. But like I said, you could easily have a couple, put them on a little stand, you know, in your bedroom or your favorite little treasure cubby. Or just have them in a bowl on the coffee table and hope the dog's tail doesn't knock them off or the cat doesn't decide to play with them. Although they're pretty sturdy, because with all that glue in there and these things, you'd really have to throw this thing hard for it to smash. It's gotten, you know, pretty stable. So I really would love your opinion. What do you think of my eggs? And, you know, does anybody have any interest in obtaining one? And I'd really appreciate letting me know. My shop is on Etsy. It is Moon Valley Crafts. And I appreciate you looking at my videos. And hopefully I'll come up with more little items like this to, you know, to entertain you and maybe stir your creative juices. What can you make? Oh, incidentally, making egg ornaments is something you can do with children. It's easy. Ribbon, crayons, chalk, paint. Blow the eggs. You can glue little caps on them with little strings. Let those kids go to town with those things. You can even dip them in a shellac to firm them up and make them a little more, resistant to breakage, because eggshell does get delicate over time. But the beauty of it is you've got the creativity. And then if it gets broken, oh, so what? You can, make another one. And it's just a wonderful project for kids. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.